Jason Tatum's shoe is on the way with Jordan Brand. So one of the brightest young stars in the NBA, Jason Tatum has ascended into the ranks of elite, having made at least 2 All-Star games and led the Boston Celtics to the playoffs. So in recognition of his talent, Jordan Brand added Jason Tatum to the roster of athletes back in 2019, tapping him to help lead the flagship Air Jordan model. So while that responsibility is an honor for any athlete, the ultimate goal is having a personal signature shoe, and Tatum is heading in that direction. So during an appearance on the Knuckleheads podcast with a fellow Jordan Brand member, Quentin Richardson and Darius Miles, Tatum kind of teased that his Jordan Brand signature shoe could be coming in the near future. So, basically he said that he can't really give out the logistics or like the specifics yet, like of a release date, but they are working on it. So, what are your thoughts on this, potential Jason Tatum shoe line Jordan?
I personally am not too much, involved with the NBA. So when I hear this, Jason Tatum, I don't really know who he is.
God.
So, that's just me. Landon bugs me all the time. He's such a big NBA fan. Look what he's wearing.
Let me brush you up again then.
But I'm assuming he's a superstar.
Yeah. So
is he worth a shoe?
I think he is. So
okay.
Ever since they signed
with Jordan,
Jason Tatum and Luka Doncic, Luka.
Yeah, I know Luka.
Luka at least is kind of like a household name, but Jason Tatum and Luka Doncic, they both signed with Jordan around the same time. So ever since they signed, I've kind of been waiting on him to make a signature shoe line.
Right.
So I guess this will actually transition into another good question I had for you, because it's more of like a broad basis type question. So with Jason Tatum's getting ready to start up a signature shoe line, you just kind of look around, just like kind of how signature shoe lines have been for the past almost 2 decade to 2 decades. So it kind of makes me wonder, like, just what signature lines could look like in the future, because you have all of the juggernauts from Nike, like LeBron, KD, Kyrie, Paul George. When they retire, are we going to start to see, because that's what it's been. It's been like 5 lines from Nike, 5, 6. You had Kobe's line from Nike, and then you got you got the Dame and the Harden from Adidas, but they're not even in double digits yet.
No, they're young.
You got Russell Westbrook, but he's about to be on 5. Other than that, you just got Zion's brand starting with Jordan, but you got LaMelo Ball with Puma. So I'm basically starting to see, like, will we start to see other shoe lines like emerge and like take over Nike? Because just from a signature line perspective, because I'm trying to figure out, like, Nike's got all these guys, like you got KD's on 14, LeBron's on 19, you got these double digits, Kyrie 8. All these guys are higher
approaching
than like the Hardens, than from other brands. So what that makes me wonder is Nike hasn't like mentioned a ton. I think their newest line would be Giannis at 3. But other than that, you've got all these other brands that are going to have athletes going forward. And it's almost going to be like flip. Like Nike hasn't really introduced any new players they're about to sign. So here in a few years, whenever you have some of these other players out of the league, it's gonna be like Adidas with already 4 lines.
Yeah,
like
it's gonna
Donovan
be
Mitchell, Damian Lillard, Trae Young. Those guys already submitted. You're gonna have Zion, Russell Westbrook, potentially Luka, and then it's almost going to be like Nike's just got Giannis, or maybe just another player who's still actually playing. So how crazy would that look?
So the way I see that is like, well, you got to think that Nike and Jordan are together. Nike and
Jordan are together. But
right.
I just look at signature shoe lines. I separate it just from that perspective. Obviously, it's all kind of falls under one brand, but whenever you talk about Jordan, you're not talking about Nike. When you talk about Nike, you're not talking about Jordan. I'm not talking about the Air Jordan 1 Max. No. It's the Nike Air Max 1.
Right.
I'm not talking about the Nike Jordan 1 High. I'm talking about the Air Jordan 1 High.
Right.
So it's like it's the same thing, but I separate it whenever it comes to like the finite details of like a shoe line.
Yeah. So I think it is interesting. I mean, definitely, I don't know if Nike will ever lose its reign. I mean, the runner-up would be Puma to take over the NBA just because of how many people they've signed early. But you got to think, there's no way that everyone that they sign early is going to be a superstar.
Well, that's the counter to that. I'd say the runner-up is easily Adidas, because you're looking at some guy, like the hardest thing with the signature shoe is for most brands, you got to earn it. LaMelo Ball just won Rookie of the Year, so if you want to call that earning it, okay. It's still early.
I think it's a preemptive. I think Puma's a little desperate, and they happen to snag a guy early, and it's kind of almost like a Zion kind of, where like Nike went, or Jordan, I guess, Nike or Jordan kind of went in hard early, and then like now they're kind of questioning on Zion.
Zion was the biggest wild card to me because he's the immediate like bang now. Like this guy's gonna blow up in the NBA, but he's also the biggest like question mark with health.
Exactly.
So it's one of those things where it's like you need Zion in the NBA for at least 5 to 10 years for like to get any type of work.
It takes about 2 years to develop a shoe.
Yeah, right.
You know, a year to 2. So you got to think.
He was in the league for about a year and a half before they started to get him his line.
No, before they probably announced it.
Yeah.
But I bet you as soon as he signed, they were working on him.
Yeah, no, he did talk about that a little bit on the podcast, but
it takes a while. So I don't know. I mean,
I'm just wondering what the landscape will look like.
Adidas is okay.
Is Nike gonna start? Because you got like all of Nike's athletes aside from Giannis, like KD, Kyrie, Paul George, LeBron, all on the back half of their career, easily on the back half.
Yeah.
Paul George has a smallest shoe line out of that at 5, or a youngest shoe line out of that at 5, and even he's like been in the league for a long time.
Yeah.
Like he didn't get this shoe line a few years in. He got it like 7 years in, 8 years in, something like that. So, I mean, it just makes me wonder, like, just what the signature, like, is Nike, my main question is Nike going to start to pick out a few athletes and be like, hey, let's get the ball rolling? Or if they already have, I just wonder who they are.
I think yes, but I also think that Nike is losing footing and the playing ground is going to get level. But overall, no matter what, if Nike, if these players are going to eventually retire. So obviously the playing field is going to get leveled, because even if Nike signs and makes, player exclusives of these younger talent, you still got to prove themselves. And then people still are going to be like, I don't know if I should buy his shoe. Like, it's going to take a few years. So I think overall it's going to level out where all these, all these teams, or not teams, but brands are going to be in competition again. There's not going to be one giant. But overall, I think ultimate factor is, whoever makes the best shoe is going to succeed the best.
That's been Nike for a long time.
Exactly.
And it's honestly it's pretty much stayed that way. I'll have to see how the LaMelo ball comes out like in a few days, like in a week. And then you obviously have Kawhi and New Balance. And the thing with that is they have a chance to, I wonder like if these brands are going to try and like start to sign one signature guy. Like Converse even signed Shai Gilgeous, who's like a young guy from like Oklahoma City, but it's like there's only so many people in the league that are really gonna like capture the attention of like fans and continue. And it's got to be prolonged success. You can't invest into a shoe line and then just have it dip. You saw Adidas kind of have to struggle with that a little bit with D Rose.
Well,
whenever like injuries kind of start to come into play, but how early do you pull the? But what if you end up, signing someone and then they end up walking before you get them a signature shoe? Like I know early on, like Andrew Wiggins, whenever he went first out of Kansas, he signed with like Adidas, and like they were doing all these Andrew Wiggins Adidas stuff and John Wall Adidas stuff, and then like injuries for John Wall. All that shuts off. I got a pair of John Walls over there. Just kind of all of a sudden just shuts down because you're not relevant. And then Andrew Wiggins goes from being the most one of the next LeBron to averaging 15 or 18 and being like a good average basketball
not worth it.
Player. Like
so
it makes it really interesting.
Yeah, 2 factors. You got to find good talent, and then you also have to make a good shoe behind that talent. Like even if it's good talent, like you're not going to be able to sell a good shoe that, I mean, you could, but
the way that it is right now, I feel like it's almost, what the good stuff is out there. Everyone's got to kind of try and create. It's almost like the sneaker scene kind of reminds me of like sneaker cleaning product. Like, it's all out there. You kind of have to tweak it up. You have to make it your own.
Right.
You can't take the Nike Cushlon or the Nike Airfit Strobel
obviously,
and put it inside of the Adidas.
Right.
But like, you got to just tweak it up a little bit. You got to find the Adidas Boost. You got to find the Bounce, whatever works
right.
best.
That's true. All shoes are going to be decent.
Bad shoe,
right?
Unless you really just put no effort into it. But we saw Adidas with Trae Young. They put some suede pieces on there and stuff like that.
It was
like,
okay.
There's no reason to put out a bad shoe though.
Right.
It's not a bad shoe. They put Boost in it.
Yeah, they put Boost in it, but then also the lacing setup, like you said, is not good.
Weird.
So like,
the lacing was weird in the trash and didn't end up being that great. So I think there's a few factors.
So like that's tough though. Like that's your first signature like shoot. You got to go out and bang it, and you come out with an
I
like an
disagree.
okay.
I think your first signature shoe and your second signature shoe, like I talked about, is like you
True.
put it out there, you see what happens, and then you make the tweaks. That's why I always say the first and second signature shoe lines are normally like trying to figure out what's going to be the best playing experience, and then you kind of like build off one of those.
That's true.
Thanks for watching this clip of the Laced Up Show.
To watch the full episode, click here, and to subscribe for more sneaker related content, click here. But until next time, peace.